Dr. Blue stared at his holographic screen with three of his eyes, while keeping the fourth one focused on his cup of steaming space coffee. As the lead researcher of the Galactic Council's Cultural Exchange Division, he had reviewed countless alien civilizations' data packages, but something about the humans' latest transmission made his antenna twitch. Computer, open folder memes_archive_2025_2050 again. He commanded, his gray fingers hovering over the control panel. The screen lit up with thousands of small images, videos, and what the humans called GIFs. A small image of an odd-looking Earth canine with broken text caught his attention. Much wow. Very space. Such aliens. Dr. Blue's translation matrix struggled to process the intentionally incorrect grammar. He scratched his smooth head with one of his secondary arms, wondering if there was something wrong with the language processor. Computer, run diagnostic on translation systems, he ordered. The computer beeped in response. Translation systems functioning at 99.8% efficiency. Error detected in processing human linguistic patterns. Unable to reconcile intentional grammatical errors with known language rules. Dr. Blue leaned back in his hover chair, all four eyes now fixed on the screen. Fascinating, he muttered. They're deliberately breaking their own language rules for entertainment. His assistant, Yellow, floated into the laboratory, carrying a stack of data crystals. Sir, have you finished reviewing the human data package? The Council expects our preliminary report by next solar rotation. Yellow, come look at this. Blue waved one of his arms excitedly. The humans have developed a form of communication that seems to deliberately malfunction to create an emotional response. Yellow glided over, her crystalline eyes adjusting to focus on the screen. Blue clicked on another image, this time showing the human male walking on a stage, then falling with the text, "Me, asterisk tries to make first contact asterisk also me." Yellow's color shifted slightly towards orange, a sign of confusion in her species. But why would they document and share their failures? And why add text stating the obvious? That's just it. Blue's antenna wobbled with excitement. They're not documenting actual failures. They're creating hypothetical scenarios and using them to express common experiences. Look at how many times this particular image format has been reused with different text. As they dug deeper into the archive, their laboratory's AI began showing signs of strain. The quantum processors, designed to handle the most complex scientific calculations in the galaxy, were struggling to categorize and analyze the endless variations of Chuck Norris facts and something called rickrolling. Sir, the computer's voice crackled, showing unusual signs of stress. I am detecting a pattern that defies logical analysis. Humans appear to have created a system of communication that is simultaneously meaningful and meaningless. Blue's excitement grew with each passing moment. He pulled up another image, this time of a dog sitting in a burning room saying, "This is fine." Yellow, do you understand what this means? Blue's voice trembled with academic excitement. The humans have developed a form of information transfer that carries emotional and cultural context through intentional absurdity. But sir, Yellow interrupted, her color now shifting towards a worried purple, if these memes are as infectious as they appear to be, shouldn't we be concerned about their impact on our own communication systems? Before Blue could respond, a young intern burst into the laboratory, all six of their eyes wide with excitement. Dr. Blue, you have to see this. The cafeteria staff are all sharing these strange Earth images. Someone modified that "this is fine" image to show our chef in the protein synthesizer malfunction last week. Blue and Yellow exchanged worried looks. It had already begun. The memes were spreading. Perhaps, Blue said slowly, his antenna now twitching rapidly, we should inform the Council about this development. But as he reached for the communication panel, he couldn't help but open one more image. This one showed a crude drawing of what humans called a stick figure with the text, "Me explaining memes to aliens." Blue found himself doing something he'd never done before, making an involuntary sound humans would call laughing. The cultural exchange had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the initial discovery of human memes, the galactic research station's normally orderly corridors had descended into what the humans would call organized chaos. Junior researcher Green sat at his workstation, all three of his tentacles trembling as he stared at his screen. Just one more, he whispered to himself, clicking through another page of what humans called cat memes. His supervisor had already warned him twice about spending too much time studying the human data archive, but he couldn't help himself. Icon has productivity flashed across his personal messaging system. Green nearly fell out of his hover chair. Someone had modified an ancient lolcat image to show their station's efficiency charts plummeting. He couldn't help but send back a stonks meme with a downward arrow. Across the station, the infection spread. The cafeteria's ordering system now responded to requests with, "One does not simply order extra snacks when supplies ran low." The maintenance robots had somehow learned to respond to repair requests with, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" complete with animated images. In the main research hall, Dr. Blue faced an emergency meeting of the station's senior staff. His presentation screen displayed a graph showing the rapid spread of meme usage across all departments. As you can see, he gestured with two of his appendages. What began as a simple cultural study has evolved into something unprecedented. Yesterday, Commander Red tried to end a security briefing with something called a "thank you for coming to my TED talk." The assembled aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Many of them had secretly saved their favorite memes to their personal devices. Furthermore, Blue continued, "Our junior staff have begun creating their own variations. Observe." He pulled up an image that showed their station's notorious cafeteria food with the text, "This ain't much, but it's honest work." Several staff members had to suppress their recently developed ability to laugh. Just then, the station's AI interrupted the presentation. Warning: detecting unusual activity in the communication networks. Multiple instances of something called a rickroll being shared between departments. Before Blue could respond, every screen in the room suddenly displayed a human with red hair dancing. The senior staff found themselves unable to look away, their bodies swaying slightly to the rhythmic words, "Never gonna give you up." "It's too late," Green announced from the doorway, where he had been watching. "We've already started our own meme economy. The maintenance crew is trading rare peeps for early access to the good coffee machine." Blue's antenna drooped in resignation. "How many departments are affected?" "All of them," Green replied, pulling up a station-wide chat log. "The physics team has started responding to all requests with, 'This is the way.' The xenobiology department now rates all new species discoveries on a chunk scale. Even the security team has started calling their patrol routes the sacred timeline." The room fell silent as this information sank in. Then, from the back of the room, the oldest and most serious member of the council, Professor Gray, raised one of his appendages. "I believe," he said in his gravelly voice, "that this situation calls for what the humans refer to as a pro-gamer move." The room erupted in barely contained alien giggles. Blue realized the situation had progressed far beyond their control. "Should we inform the Galactic Council?" asked Yellow, who had been quietly making notes. "One does not simply walk into the council chambers with memes," someone called from the back of the room, triggering another wave of alien laughter. Blue looked around at his colleagues, noting how their usually rigid postures had relaxed, how their communication had become more fluid and creative. Perhaps this wasn't the disaster it appeared to be. "No," he decided. "First, we need to understand what's happening. Why are these human information packets so infectious? And more importantly, why do they make us feel more connected?" As if in response, someone's device started playing All Star by Smash Mouth, and not a single alien in the room tried to stop it. The memetic revolution had begun, and there was no going back. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber, normally a place of solemn dignity, had never seen anything like this before. On the massive central screen, Council Member Purple stood behind the ancient podium, trying to maintain order while various species representatives shared what they called reaction images through the official communication channels. Order. We must have order. Purple's voice boomed through the chamber. Unfortunately, someone had already turned his stern expression into what humans called an image macro, with the text "tries to stop memes," becomes a meme instead. The situation is critical, Purple continued, his color darkening with frustration. Reports are coming in from every sector. The human mimetic infection has spread beyond the research station. Even the warrior hive of Sector 7 has been affected. The screen changed to show footage of the feared warrior hive, known throughout the galaxy for their fierce dedication to combat. The video showed rows of warriors, each performing something called the default dance from an ancient human game called Fortnite. Our cultures are being contaminated, declared Representative White, rising from his hovering platform. Just yesterday, my own offspring asked me why we don't have something called a Wednesday frog for our traditional midweek ceremonies. More screens lit up around the chamber as other representatives joined the debate. The Hive Mind Collective of Sector 12 reported that their shared consciousness had begun automatically responding. This is the way to all important decisions. The silicon beings of Sector 3 complained that their binary communication now included something called POG at random intervals. We must quarantine these human information packets. White insisted, waving his appendages dramatically. Someone immediately captured the gesture and turned it into a "my goals are beyond your understanding" meme, which spread through the chamber's communication system in seconds. Dr. Blue watched from his observer's platform, recording everything for his research. Next to him, Green was trying not to laugh as alien species after alien species reported their contamination by human meme culture. The Crystalline Empire has developed something called wholesome crystal memes, reported one representative. They're sharing images of their young with captions like, "I'm doing a grow," and "crystal formation ain't much, but it's honest work." The deep space traders have started rating all their transactions with stonks indicators, added another voice. Purple raised all four of his arms for silence. We must consider quarantine measures. He was interrupted by a junior council member who floated up from the lower levels. But sir, look at the data. Since the introduction of memes, interspecies communication has improved by 47%. The eternal enemies of Sector 9 have started sharing what they call relatable content instead of death threats. The chamber erupted in discussion. Blue noticed that even the most serious representatives were secretly viewing their favorite memes on their personal devices. Perhaps, suggested an ancient council member who rarely spoke, we should consider this not as contamination, but as evolution. When was the last time this chamber saw so many species freely sharing their thoughts and experiences? A thoughtful silence fell over the chamber. Then, from somewhere in the back, a voice called out, "Modern problems require modern solutions." The chamber filled with the newly discovered sound of alien laughter. Purple looked around at the changed faces of his fellow council members. Where once there had been rigid formality, he now saw genuine amusement and connection. "Very well," he declared, his color shifting to a more relaxed shade. "Instead of quarantine, we shall establish a committee for mimetic cultural exchange. Our first task will be to understand why pictures of small Earth creatures with misspelled words bring such joy to all species." As the chamber erupted in approval, Blue made his final note of the day. Hypothesis confirmed. Human meme culture may be the greatest diplomatic tool ever discovered. Also, I can has cheeseburger. The galaxy would never be the same. And somehow, that seemed just fine. The human diplomatic ship, Meme Dream, dropped out of hyperspace near the Galactic Council station. Inside, Ambassador Tom Smith stared out the window while reviewing his mission briefing one last time. Earth had sent him to handle the growing meme situation with the alien races. "Sir," his assistant Jack called from the communication station, "you need to see this. The aliens are responding to our arrival announcement with, Dancing cockroaches. Tom walked over to the screen, where a series of what appeared to be rainbow-colored cockroaches bounced in perfect synchronization. Below them flashed the text, "Humans approaching. Time for crab rave." "They're a little confused, but they got the spirit," Tom muttered, recognizing the mixed meme reference. "What else are they sending?" Before Jack could answer, their ship's AI started playing "Never Gonna Give You Up" through all speakers. The aliens had somehow rickrolled their entire vessel. Well, Tom smiled. At least they're learning the classics. The landing bay was packed with alien representatives when they arrived. Many held signs with various Earth memes edited to include their species. A group of crystalline beings had somehow recreated the "This is fine" dog using their natural bioluminescence. Dr. Blue met them at the airlock, all four of his eyes blinking rapidly with excitement. "Welcome, humans. We hope you will find our vibe check acceptable." Tom tried to keep a straight face as he noticed several aliens in the background doing the Macarena. "Thank you for the interesting welcome, Dr. Blue. I understand you want to discuss the cultural exchange situation." Yes. Please follow me to the council chamber. Though I should warn you." Blue's antenna twitched nervously. Things have changed a bit since the meme discovery. The council chamber had indeed changed. The once formal room now featured holographic displays showing a constant stream of alien-modified memes. The ancient ceremonial banners had been replaced with images of various iconic duos from different species. Council member Purple floated down to greet them. "Welcome, humans. We've been expecting you." Behind him, someone had projected, "One does not simply walk into a council meeting," in giant letters. "Thank you for having us." Tom began his prepared speech. "We're here to discuss the unprecedented spread of Earth's meme culture across the galaxy." "What are those?" shouted someone from the back, pointing at Tom's formal diplomatic shoes. The chamber erupted in alien laughter. Tom looked at Jack helplessly. Their carefully planned diplomatic mission was quickly turning into what Earth's historians would probably call a bruh moment. "Perhaps," Purple suggested, his color shifting to a more serious shade, "we should discuss the real issue. Your memes have completely transformed our societies. The warrior hive now rates battle plans based on their wholesome factor. The silicon beings have started ending all binary sequences with bottom text." "I understand your concern," Tom replied carefully, "but from our reports, it seems interspecies communication and cooperation have improved significantly." "True," Blue interjected, pulling up some statistics. "But how do we conduct serious diplomatic business when our most respected Elder Council responds to trade proposals with stonks?" Just then, an emergency alert flashed across all screens. The eternal enemies of Sector 9, known for their millennia-long conflict, had simultaneously sent the same message to the Council. It was a picture of two opposing warriors pointing at each other, copied from the Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man meme. "They're declaring peace," Purple explained, his voice filled with disbelief. "Through a meme. They say fighting is kinda cringe, Neil." Tom couldn't help but smile. "With all due respect, council members, it seems like memes are doing what centuries of formal diplomacy couldn't. They're helping different species find common ground through shared humor." The chamber fell silent as everyone considered this. Finally, an ancient council member spoke up. "He's out of line, but he's right." The tension broke as the chamber filled with laughter. Even Purple's color lightened to an amused shade. "Very well," Purple declared. "We shall embrace this new form of diplomacy. But please explain to us why humans find pictures of cats asking for cheeseburgers so eternally amusing." Tom looked around the chamber, at all the different species united by humanity's strangest creation, and realized that sometimes the best diplomacy doesn't need formal speeches or ancient protocols. Sometimes all it needs is a good meme. "They're trying to ban memes." The message flashed across every screen in the Galactic Research Station. Dr. Blue's antenna nearly tied itself in a knot as he read the emergency broadcast. A group of conservative alien species, calling themselves the Anti-Meme Alliance, had declared war on what they called the human mind virus. These primitive information packets are destroying our ancient ways, declared High Elder Black of the Silicon Beings, his metallic face appearing on all channels. We must return to traditional communication methods. In response, someone immediately broadcast a galaxy-wide message reading "Ok Boomer" with Black's image. The meme war had begun. Green burst into Blue's office, all his tentacles waving excitedly. They're shutting down the meme networks, but we've got a backup plan. The young ones are calling it the Underground Memwork. Blue watched his screens as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The Anti-Meme Alliance had started blocking all communication channels that showed signs of memetic contamination. In response, creative young aliens had begun hiding memes in traditional formal documents using complex codes. Look at this, Green showed Blue his tablet. The crystalline youth are using their natural light patterns to share banned memes. They call it crystal posting. The resistance movement grew faster than anyone expected. Young aliens from different species started calling themselves the Memers, using everything from ancient cave paintings to quantum entanglement to share their favorite human-inspired content. In the warrior hive, veteran soldiers secretly taught their younglings the sacred art of deep-fried memes. The Silicon Beings youth had developed a new binary code that looked like normal data but contained hidden Pepe the Frog images. "Sir," Yellow rushed into the office. "You need to see this. The Resistance has created something new. They're calling it a Reddit-like platform." Blue followed Yellow to the main computer room. On the screens, millions of aliens were sharing what they called original content, combining their species' unique traits with classic human meme formats. The resulting fusion of cultures was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. A group of energy beings had recreated the Drake format using different states of plasma. The aquatic species of Sector 6 were sharing underwater SpongeBob memes. Even the traditionally serious rock people had started making mineral warfare versions of human military memes. "The platform is about to crash," Yellow reported, watching the system strain under the weight of millions of alien-human hybrid memes being shared simultaneously. "There's too much content." Just then, the main screen lit up with an emergency transmission from the Anti-Meme Alliance headquarters. High Elder Black appeared, his metallic face stern as ever. "This cultural contamination must stop," he began. But before he could continue, his transmission was interrupted by thousands of aliens simultaneously sending the "No, I don't think I will" meme. The system overloaded, creating what would later be known as the Great Meme Crash of 2054. When the networks came back online hours later, something had changed. The Anti-Meme Alliance's headquarters had been flooded with millions of wholesome memes. Security footage showed Elder Black looking at his personal device, his metallic face softening as he scrolled through endless "everybody liked that" posts. Perhaps, he finally announced in a galaxy-wide broadcast, "We have been too hasty in our judgment." These memes seemed to bring joy and understanding between species. The Resistance celebrated their victory the only way they knew how, by creating a new meme format called Success Elder featuring Black's smiling metallic face. In his office, Blue finished his daily report with a simple observation. "Today marks a turning point in galactic history. We have witnessed not just the preservation of a new form of communication, but the birth of something greater, a truly unified galactic culture, built on the foundation of human creativity and alien innovation." Then he added a postscript. Also, achievement unlocked. Galaxy brain moment. The meme war was over. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was perfectly fine. In the main laboratory of the Galactic Research Station, Dr. Blue stared at his test results in disbelief. After months of studying the effects of memes on different alien species, he had discovered something extraordinary. "Green," he called out, his antenna vibrating with excitement. "Look at these brain scans." Green slithered over to the holographic display, where dozens of alien brain patterns floated in the air. Each one showed unusual activity in areas previously thought dormant. These are the brain patterns of species exposed to human memes for the past 6 months, Blue explained, his 4 eyes darting between different displays. See these glowing areas? Those are creativity centers that we thought most species had evolved past. The scans showed something remarkable. Species that had spent thousands of years evolving toward pure logic were suddenly developing new neural pathways. The ability to understand and create memes was literally changing their brains. Watch this, Blue said, pulling up a video of a young silicon being. The metallic creature was looking at a series of dad joke memes. With each punchline, parts of its crystalline brain lit up that had been dark for generations. They're not just laughing, Green realized, his tentacles curling in amazement. They're learning to think in new ways. Just then, the station's AI interrupted with an unusual announcement. Instead of its normal monotone voice, it spoke with what could only be described as humor. "What do you call a computer that sings?" "Adele," the AI declared. After a pause, it added, "I have achieved comedy. This is a Poggers moment." Blue and Green exchanged looks. The AIs are developing their own sense of humor. Blue whispered, "This is unprecedented." Reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. The warrior hive, known for their rigid battle formations, had started developing creative combat strategies based on meme concepts. Their victory rate had increased by 200%. The crystalline empire, usually limited to growing in straight lines, had begun creating crystal formations in the shape of popular memes. The results were not just beautiful. They were more structurally sound than anything they'd built before. "Professor," Yellow burst into the lab. The silicon beings just made first contact with a new species using only memes. The newcomers understood them perfectly. Blue rushed to his communication panel. The footage showed the first meeting between the silicon beings and a species made entirely of living gas. Unable to communicate through conventional means, the silicon beings had shared a carefully chosen selection of memes. The gas beings had responded with their own version of the understandable, "have a nice day" meme, created by changing their cloud formations. "Don't you see what this means?" Blue asked his colleagues, his voice filled with wonder. "Memes aren't just jokes or simple information packets. They're a universal language of shared experiences and emotions." In the following weeks, more discoveries poured in. The ancient hive mind collective reported that exposure to memes had helped them develop individual personalities while maintaining their unity. The energy beings of Sector 12 had started using meme formats to teach their young about complex quantum physics. Even the most serious members of the Galactic Council had to admit the evidence was overwhelming. Species that embraced meme culture were evolving faster, thinking more creatively, and solving problems in ways they never had before. "It's like," Green said, trying to find the right words, "the humans accidentally created a key that unlocks the creative potential in every species." Blue nodded, adding the final notes to his research paper. "The human concept of sharing relatable content has achieved what billions of years of evolution could not. It has taught us how to laugh at ourselves, think outside our limitations, and connect with others in entirely new ways." He paused, then added one final line. "In conclusion, intelligence is temporary, but memes are forever." The galaxy wasn't just changing anymore. It was evolving, one meme at a time. 5 years after the first human meme was discovered in the Galactic Database, the grand opening ceremony of the Intergalactic Meme Academy was about to begin. Located in the heart of the Galactic Council's central station, the massive building shaped like Earth's famous Stonks arrow pointed upward into space. Dr. Blue, now the Academy's first headmaster, stood at the podium facing an audience of thousands of different species. Behind him, a giant holographic display showed the most important memes in galactic history, starting with the legendary Doge that had begun it all. "Welcome, everyone," Blue began, his antenna swaying gently. Or as the humans would say, "It ain't much, but it's honest work." The crowd erupted in various forms of alien laughter. In the front row, Ambassador Tom Smith grinned. Next to him, High Elder Black of the Silicon Beings, now wearing a deal-with-it holographic visor, nodded approvingly. "Today," Blue continued, "we celebrate not just the opening of this academy, but the greatest cultural revolution in galactic history. Our first class includes students from over 500 species, all here to study what we now call mimetic communication and creative evolution." On the student benches, young aliens from across the galaxy sat together. A small silicon being was showing a warrior hive youngster how to make deep-fried memes. A group of energy beings practiced changing their plasma states to recreate classic reaction memes. Our first professors, Blue gestured to one side of the stage, include leading human internet historians who will teach us about the sacred texts of Reddit and the ancient art of shitposting. The human professors waved to the crowd. One of them held up a sign reading "Teaching Aliens About Memes." Big PP energy. Green, now the Academy's head of research, floated up to the podium with the latest statistics. "In just 5 years since the great meme discovery, we have recorded a 500% increase in interspecies cooperation, a 300% improvement in problem-solving across all species, and a 1,000% increase in what humans call good vibes." The holographic display showed images from across the galaxy. The Warrior Hive's new combat training program, combining ancient martial arts with dance move memes. The Silicon Beings cities now featured architecture inspired by classic meme formats. The Crystalline Empire's young growing up learning both traditional crystal formation and crystal comedy. "But perhaps," Blue said, his voice growing thoughtful, "our greatest achievement is something we never expected." A young gas being recently asked me, "Why were ancient aliens so serious?" I realized then that we had gained something more valuable than knowledge. We had learned to laugh at ourselves. In the audience, representatives from the once-warring species of Sector 9 sat together, sharing what they called peace memes. The Hive Mind Collective, now famous for their collective comedy consciousness, broadcast waves of joy through the room. And so, Blue concluded, as we open these doors, we remember that humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't their advanced technology or their complex philosophies. It was their ability to find humor in every situation, to create connections through shared experiences, and to express complex ideas through simple, sometimes absurd images. The ceremony ended with what humans would recognize as a massive group photo. Thousands of aliens posed together, many making the ancient peace sign or dabbing pose. The energy beings formed a perfect press F to pay respects in the background. Later that evening, as the celebration continued, a young alien child approached Ambassador Tom with a serious question. "Is it true the humans once used these memes just for fun? Not for diplomacy or scientific advancement or interstellar peace?" Tom smiled, looking out at the celebration where hundreds of species shared jokes, stories, and of course, memes. "Sometimes," he replied, "the best things in life start out as just for fun." The child considered this, then responded with what had become the galaxy's favorite phrase, "Understandable. Have a great day." And somewhere in the vast database of the Galactic Council, the original folder labeled memes_archive_2025_2050 remained, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful changes in the universe start with a simple joke shared between friends. The end.